Hello and welcome to this week's GG Weekend Watch, kindly sponsored by SBK. And we have a jam-packed show today, 10 scheduled races to cover, as well as any other races where the lads would like to take us to for their best bets of the weekend. And those lads are your usual team of Daryl Carter and Andrew Mount. So plenty to look forward to then, guys. We have racing from Newbury, Doncaster, Kelso. We're all over the shop this weekend, so we had better kick on. But before we kick on, I just want to acknowledge one thing that I know has been getting a lot of comments then on YouTube, and it is my clock. Those who are trying to set up a GoFundMe page for batteries for Kate's clock, unfortunately, it won't work. Just to spell it out, basically, the two hands get stuck on each other, hence why it's always the same time every single week. So we're not that punctual every week. It's just the fact that I bought a faulty clock. So just to clear that up, to finally clarify that after the last few weeks, I had to get that out of the way. So we will now kick on with the racing, where we'll begin with the 115 at Newbury. This is our opening race. It's a 0 to 150 veterans handicap chase for 10-year-olds and over even. There'll be some veteran as a 5-year-old. 10-year-olds and over 3 mile too. I love veterans races, as everyone knows, but that doesn't mean I'm any good at finding a winner. So Andrew, I instead leave this race to you firstly, please, to point us in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you for not using the segue from 140 clock to another.
But a veteran.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Much
one veteran to another.
Yeah, you know I love these races because you can make money by siding with the 10-year-olds, particularly 10-year-olds who sort of seemingly disappointed last time out. You'd make a fortune over the years just backing any 10-year-old who ran 6th or worse in the veterans in a race last time out, usually because they were running against younger rivals, conceding way, often running in sort of grade 3 handicap chases at big spring festivals, and now dropping down in grade. Now, last year, there was only one 10-year-old in this race, the King's Writ, which I tipped up each way. I think Daryl did as well, actually, from memory. That one came third. That was a good performance. There's only 3 this year. And although we've had 11-year-old winners for the last twice, 6 of the previous 8 renewals were won by a 10-year-old. And as I said, there was only one 10-year-old runner last year. So the 3 here, you've got Christmas in April, St. Xavier and Encounter a Giant. And I thought it was St. Xavier from the Richard Hobson yard who sent out Valadon to run second in this race last year in the same colours. That one could be the way to go. So I'm going to Dutch the 3 10-year-old angles. Dutching means backing all 3 of them to win the same amount of money. And so I'll Dutch the 3 10-year-olds, and I'll probably also back the Hobson runner each way. That's St. Xavier.
Yeah, 12 to 1 then for St. Xavier, but siding with all of the 10-year-olds then for Andrew. Daryl, how do you play this race?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go for the 10-year-old angle in this particular race. I thought the 2 class acts were Kauto, Riko and ASO. I found it quite difficult to split them, but I thought ASO ran quite well 20 days ago at Exeter, but it was just 20 days ago, and it was quite a tough race that day. Beaten 20 lengths. He's been dropped 4 or 5 pounds by the handicap, but I actually thought he ran quite well. I've never really been convinced by him over 3 miles. So I'm going to take him on with Kauto Riko. I've been on Kauto Riko a couple of times, people might remember. And it's because I think the 3 mile trip, in this case, 3 mile 2, I just think is the trip that he wants these days. So 2 of his last 3 runs have come over 3 miles, and he's recorded RPRs of 147, and his latest run in the Cotswold Chase, 152. Those have been almost career best performances from him. Now, he was at the back of the field, really, in the Cotswold Chase. He never really got involved. And he was quite given quite an easy time of things by Brian Hughes. But I'm just interested to see how this horse goes in the betting, because he's been below 5 to 1 just 7 times in his career. And his form figures read 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 2. So he's won 4 of them every time he's been priced below 5 to 1. So it'd be interesting to see if the money comes through him. Kieran Buckley takes £5 off his mark of 139, which is only going to help. I think Newbury is going to suit him. And I think this race is one of those races in his career where it is an actual winnable opportunity, as opposed to being a big price in better races hoping for a pace collapse. There's a lot of pace in here, I thought. I thought at least 3, Indy 5, Christmas in April, St. Xavier could all go forward. So I think the race could set up quite nicely for him. There's definitely a win in this horse, and I think he's a fair price. I don't know what he's around 9 to 2, I think, isn't he?
11 to 2.
11 to 2. Yeah, I think he's a fair price. If he goes off under 5 to 1, I know it sounds a bit silly, but the market genuinely gives you the right inkling of his chances throughout his whole career. So if he goes off under 5-1, I'd be quite happy. I'm going to back him. I think there's a win in him, and I thought it was quite an eye-catching run, if anything, in the Cotswold Chase last time.
Yeah, so Kauto, Riko. I think, you sided with him first time after the season, didn't you? Went at Doncaster, and that was a solid run. So he is a really interesting horse. I can't believe he's an 11-year-old now. He's still pretty lightly raced, really. But Kauto, Riko then at 11-2 for Daryl in our opener. So we'll move on to our second race then at Newbury. This is the Greatwood Gold Cup Handicap Chase, which is a grade 3 handicap for 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 3.5 furlongs. This looks a wide open race yet again, Daryl. So over to you, please, to solve it.
Yeah, it does look wide open. I struggled, to be honest with you, to find a real solid angle into this race. I think a lot of people will probably latch on to Tamarot de Matan. He's down to a mark of 142. Going back to Kempton last year, those 2 runs were interesting behind Shishkin, and then his emphatic win over Garlaw. I just would slightly question mark with Tamarot de Matan why they've kept him to a right-handed track so much. He's quite dominant on that side, but he's still only a 7-year-old. He could still have more to come. He did run well in the Betfair Hurdle a few years ago. So he's interesting. He's probably the classier act in the field. Senior Citizen is one I backed in this race last year off a mark of 134, so £10 higher he is now. I don't know about him. He's still sort of improving, but he's very hard to judge, I feel. I thought the best handicapped horse in the race was probably Dublin 4. He's off a mark of 128. He won his last 2 starts here at Newbury, won off 124 back in November, but he fell at Ludlow when he was yet to be really put into the race, and he wasn't done with, that's for sure. But they've given him 73 days off the track. I'm wondering if he just was feeling the effects of that fall, perhaps. I haven't got a really strong opinion. I think Dublin 4 is probably the most likely winner, but it wouldn't surprise me if any of these popped up, Kate.
Yeah, such a nightmare of a race to try and find an angle in. I agree, but 4-1 then about Dublin 4, but the market is yet to fully form itself yet. So we're yet to see really on proper prices and to get an overall feel then of the market for this race. So Andrew, any stronger opinion from yourself?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, this has been a good race for the Paul Nicholls yard. The last 10 years, because of abandonments, we've only had 8 renewals. Nicholls is 5 from 17 in that period, profit of £30.83. And interestingly, for a track that traditionally favours front runners, Newbury's Chase Course, hold-up horses have got a fantastic record in this race. I think 7 of the last 8 have come from midfield or further back. Maybe they've just got a bit gung-ho. Maybe it's because there's usually a big field, but they've always seemed to sort of go too hard up front and lead to a pace collapse. So, looking at a horse who's likely to be ridden patiently and is on the upgrade, probably Dublin 4, like Daryl said, best price 4-1. I know he fell last time out, but that was at Ludlow, a track that often causes mishaps. Those fences take some jumping since they were replaced, and I'm quite happy to side with horses who once seated or fell at Ludlow when they switch to another track next time out. A winner on his last 2 visits to Newbury, I thought Dublin 4 for a token pick on a race that probably needs a bit more work from me, really. And More de Nuit is obviously a Nicholls runner that we were all like last time out at Musselburgh, although I changed my mind on the day ridiculously and backed something else. But he's a real small field merchant. He's had 15 runs in fields of 6 or fewer runners in his career. He's won 10 of them. When he overjumps, when he's had a field of 7 or more runners, just 1 win at odds of 4-7 from 18 starts. So I know there's only 10 runners, but for a horse who perhaps needs to sort of dominate and not be crowded, maybe that's a bit of a worry for our more de Nuit backers, despite Nicholls' good record in the race.
Yeah, so like I say, so do just bear that in mind for Amour de Nuit. But Andrew also agreeing then with Dublin 4 at this stage, but yet to do some more work on the race. But yes, after falling over Ludlow's fences last time out, they're just the worst. So yeah, you can definitely forgive that. So Andrew, I'll throw it back to you, please, for anything else from Newbury.
Yes, it was quite surprising and almost disappointing. There's only 2 televised races from Newbury. I think it's a better meeting than Kelso. Maybe that's my southern bias, but Mark of Gold I like in the 227, very progressive, getting better as he's learned to settle over his hurdles. Lord Baddesley in the 302, a horse who goes well from the sort of March to October period, and was 4th in the Betfair Hurdle last time out. And in the 337, we've got the veterans equivalent in handicap hurdles. It's a seniors handicap hurdle confined to horses aged 8 or older. think we had a 10-year-old last year, but all the other runnings have been won by an 8-year-old. So there's 10 runners, 5 8-year-olds, 5 older horses, just touch the 8-year-olds.
Yeah, so
don't look at the form.
Don't look at the form. Go for the youngest horse in an equivalent of a veterans race, and for the seniors over hurdles. So 3 races in a row then for selections from Andrew there. So Daryl, anything else from Newbury for you?
Yeah, I've got the same 3 races in a row. In the 227, I thought it might be just worth keeping an eye on this Irish Hill for Paul Nicholls. He's been given an opening mark of 107, but he gets a 4-year-old allowance, so he's getting £10. I don't really know too many horses of Paul Nicholls that are running off marks of 97 in handicaps. He was behind that Dr. Parnassus at Ascot last time, but he won first time up for Paul Nicholls, first time in Britain, first time over hurdles at Taunton. He was probably fortunate that day because Greystone fell, but Greystone's rated 127, so I'd keep an eye on him. I don't know whether I'm going to back him or not yet. In the 302, Lord Baddesley was the horse that I was going to mention, but Andrew's just mentioned it. And in the 337, Dorking Boy is a horse I want to keep on side. He chased home a very, very rapidly improving and a very well handicapped Thunder Rock at Huntington. They were actually 11 seconds faster than the Sydney Banks that was run on the card. It was a really, really good performance. The handicap has put him up just £2, and this is a drop in class here for him. Tom Lacey tends to target a few horses at this at Newbury in particular. He's the horse that's pretty much on the upgrade at the moment, and you've got to sort of make excuses for a lot of the others. Whereas he's coming here full of life, and he should go well.
And an 8-year-old as well in that race. So yeah. Andrew will be delighted. And you agree with Andrew in the 302, but differing with the 2 lads there in the 227. So plenty of selections at Newbury. He's done very well across the card then at Newbury, the 2 lads there with their selections. But we will move on to our second scheduled meeting of the day. This is at Kelso, which hosts its most valuable meeting of the season. And the first race we're going to be looking at is the 132. This is the Grade 2 Premier Novices Hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 2. Lots of smart novices declared for this race. So, Daryl, who wins it?
Hopefully North Lodge. I really like him. He's a progressive horse. I put him up last time. He's actually £7 worse off with Richmond Lake for a 1 3/4 length victory at Aintree. But the improvement that he's shown from one start to another just might counteract that. He obviously beat BALKO Coastal at Cheltenham. Now you can argue BALKO Coastal perhaps didn't stay that trip, but I thought he was a real strong stayer there. I think I'm not entirely sure, but I think this is Alan King's first runner at Kelso. Is that right?
Ooh,
someone will have to
get the stats, fire up the stats machine, put 50p in the slot.
Yeah, I think so. Adrian Heskin comes up here, obviously for North Lodge. He could be Newbury on Senior Citizen, but I think this North Lodge is a lovely horse, progressive horse. I think they're going to go here and then on to Aintree. I think there's a lot more to come from him, and just given that jump of improvement he's made from first start to second start, and he's done it at tracks at Aintree and Cheltenham, where you're going to get decent fields and decent rivals. He's now going up to Kelso, a northern track where, with all due respect, there's lesser racing up north. He's got to renew rivalry with Richmond Lake and Shollicott Jack for Dan Skelton, but I just think he's a lovely horse that's progressing at a rate of knots. There's not been many novices this term that have reached a rating of 137 as quickly as this. In fact, I don't think there's been any that have reached outside of the Supreme markets and stuff like that. But so he's very much on the upgrade. He's under a penalty, but horses have won this with penalties before, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Given the progression he showed already, I think he can take another step forward. I think he might be tough to beat. Yeah,
like I say, on that official rating of 137 after just 2 runs, that is a fair effort to have achieved that already. So hopefully he runs up to that and defies a penalty then for Daryl. Andrew, do you agree, or are you looking elsewhere?
No, I mean, North Lodge won when Hillcrest unseated, and I know it's a case of the hurdles are there to be jumped, etc. But in all likelihood, had Hillcrest stayed on his feet, North Lodge would be coming here on the back of a defeat and wouldn't be 3-1. So not for me at the price. Alan King, it is his first runner as far as I can tell. My database only goes back about 25 years to 1997. So unless he had anything before that. The one I liked, I was quite surprised to see him as big as 8-1, was Bold Endeavour for Laura Morgan. Yard's in fantastic form. This one was a point winner, and is 3 from 3 since switched to rules, winning a bumper and a maiden, then a novice hurdle. So yeah, a yard that's, you know, Leicestershire yard local to me, that's on the up. And yeah, looking at the Racing Post ratings, I mean, that's the incredible thing here. They've got Bold Endeavour on 149, Richmond Lake the 2-1 favourite on 146. And then you're all the way down to 142 for Nell's Son. So, you know, if you're a fan of RPRs, then Bold Endeavour can't be an 8-1 shot of a rating of 149. So certainly in terms of value, well, I think 1 or 2 firms are going 4 places, but I think you have to take 15 to 2. Just seems a big price to me.
Yeah, Bold Endeavour then to uphold his unbeaten record for Andrew in that race. So the guys are disagreeing there, but we'll move on to the 205. This is the following race. It's a handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile, 4.5 furlongs with 12 declared runners. So, Andrew, who do you side with in this contest?
Yeah, this one is extremely tricky. I mean, you could get lost in this, spend a lot of time, and then, you know, end up thinking, oh, don't fancy anything in it. The one I was interested in was Native Fighter for the Jimmy Moffat yard. Been off the track since finishing, I think, fourth at Wetherby. On the 13th of October, raced in the swamp on the inside rail that day, and I thought did quite well in the circumstances. A lot of winners have come out of that race, particularly the ones who also raced towards the inside. And although there's, you know, slight concern about the absence, it's probably ground related. You know, maybe a horse is going to have a spring campaign, so I thought Native Fighter could go well here. Not sure if you've got a price for that one, Kate.
I haven't. No, I've only got a price.
20 to 1, I think.
20 to 1. Goodness me, we won't mind that at all then.
Yeah.
20 to 1 Native Fighter. Thanks, Daryl, for that. For Andrew then, to hopefully upgrade him for that 4th last time out. Daryl, your opinion on this race?
It's not a strong one, I've got to be honest with you. I kind of went into the race because I wanted to take on the favourite, Famous Bridge, because this is one of those horses that's like a sexy, unexposed 6-year-old, you know, stepping into handicap company, albeit on his 2nd start. I just couldn't really find reasons why he was so well fancied the last day at 1 to 2 on over Saint Deroux, and I couldn't really find reasons why he was supposedly exceptionally well handicapped. There's one horse that makes him look really well handicapped. That's a horse called High Stakes, who he beat by a head, but that horse was making his reappearance after 250 days off the track. He's rated 130 High Stakes, so it's likely that he hasn't had the opportunity to show his hand yet. So therefore, it's likely that he has more to come. But on what he's achieved, this is much deeper than any other race he's been in so far. So he will have to take a good step forward here. And his run at Kelso last time was actually a step backwards on RPRs, albeit he did unseat. I thought Wild About Oscar was interesting. I know that this horse has definitely run up to a mark of 150 in his career. Just through simple time figures and through some form lines. He's definitely run up to that sort of mark. The handicap has been quite quick to drop him. Now, he ran at Huntington last time behind Thunder Rock, and he just has to go left-handed. I don't know what, they probably just sent him right-handed just to get a run, because he jumps out to the left. He's always jumped out to the left. So he was never going to be suited by going to Huntington. I know he's won at Exeter before, but that was sort of in heavy, stuck to the rail, and you know, it was just sort of ploughing through. But he definitely has to go right-handed. The cheap pieces go on. It's his 2nd start after Windop. The handicap has dropped him down to a mark of 141. Prior to that, he was running a grade 2. Prior to that, he was running behind Brewing Up Storm at Aintree. You know, this is, with all due respect to Kelso and the racing up north, that there's such a difference between racing down at tracks like Aintree, Cheltenham, and, you know, those sort of tracks, Newbury, to going up to the likes of Kelso and, you know, those sort of tracks. So the level of competition, although you do tend to get big fields, the level of competition is not normally there for these southern horses that tend to go up there and do a bit of raiding. It's quick. It's interesting they turn him out quite quickly within 23 days. Like I say, Cheap Piece has gone 2nd start after Windop. He has got the ability to win a race like this. He's definitely the class act in the race. And if he gets a sort of a freebie on the front end, I thought he could be very hard to catch.
Ooh, I like that then. So what about Oscar to defy top weights in this race then? Put his class, well, hopefully bring it to the 4 then. At 7 to 1, I can see on these prices there for him. So looks fair to be taking on Famous Bridge as the 10-3 favourite at the head of the market. Let's move on to the 240. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry, 100 to 30.
Who said that?
Okay, Kate, we outweigh his old ways on it. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. There's 2 against 1. Why are we bowing down to this? I'm going to get him a T-shirt for Secret Santa when we do it next. 100 to 30. Just to find out how old he is. At 100 to 30 at the head of the market, just for Andrew's sake, then we will move on to the 240 then next to Kelso, which is the listed Premier Chaser 5 rods and over 2 miles 7. Again, we have plenty of smart horses then declared for this race. 7 runners. Back to you for this one then, Daryl. Who takes this listed race?
Yeah, hopefully Espoir de Romay. He's sort of the horse in the field with the ability to mix it in graded company. Now, you can pick his form apart and what he's done, but he is a horse that's definitely on the upgrade. We haven't seen him for a little bit of time, so I suppose that's quite a bit of a worry, but he's definitely a 3 miler. I don't know why they dropped back to 2.5 at Carlo. I think they did it the year before as well, just because it was sort of some trainers like to do it for, first time out because they don't think they're going to get the trip. Whereas I kind of prefer horses to run over further first time out and then drop back and trip. But that's another matter. He's the class act in the field for me. And all the time the ground's drying up, which I hope it does, I think it'd be very, very tough to beat. He's rated 160. I think that's £9 clear of anything else in the race. He comes off best at the weights with some of these carrying penalties and half penalties. This is a really good opportunity for Espoir de Romay to get his career back on track. I wouldn't want to be taking him on. Would I really want to be backing him after another 125 days off the track? Probably not. But I would like to see him win because I've always been a fan of this horse. Ever since I see him win, I think it's 2020 at Wincanton, I thought he was marvellous to watch. He's an absolute beast. So, look, I hope he gets his career on track. I'm not going to have a bet in the race, but I'll be watching closely for future purposes.
Yeah. Now, Andrew, to throw it back to you then, you were nodding your head when Daryl was questioning whether or not he should be backing him at that price, and then looking shocked when he said that he's not going to. So I'm guessing you're with him as well.
Yeah, there's two I like. I think the key to Espoir de Romay is freshness. When he's had at least 8 weeks off the track, I mean, he got beaten on his racecourse debut, finished 3rd, but he was 20-1. Since then, he's 4 from 5 when he's had the requisite layoff. When he's brought back to the track more quickly, he tends to get beaten every single time. So I thought the 128-day break could be viewed positively, and he'd bounce back from a defeat as he often has done in the past. 2-1, it's probably about right, isn't it? Nothing exciting. I wouldn't, if you miss a winner at that price, you're not going to lose any sleep over it. So, I mean, but if only there were a course expert who's had 10 completed starts at Kelso with 8 wins and 2 seconds in this race. Oh, hang on a minute, Big River. And he's 8-1. I mean, come on. He's wonderful, isn't he, Big River? Absolute superstar. I know he's 12 years old, but he won here last time out. He just loves Kelso. So, he got brought down here once, but his other 10 runs here, 8 wins, 2 seconds. He's going to give you a run for your money. And it's that kind of funny race. If you're having a place pot, we've got 7 runners, only 2 places. If you get a sort of 8-1 beats 10-1, that could make the place pot, and that 8-1 shot could be Big River. So whatever you're doing in the race, if you want to back Espoir de Romay on the fresh angle because of Daryl's comments, then at least have a saver on Big River, or maybe play Big River in the exactorial forecasts with your selection as well.
Yeah, rather than the 2 places to aim at, even though he is sort of each way price, so you can still side with him to run into the first 2 then. But Big River, the course specialist in there again, like I said, you can't help but love that horse. He is just an absolute dude at 12 years old and showing no signs of getting bored of his racing whatsoever. But my nap is actually going to be Espoir de Romay in here. I know he's a 2-1 shot, but I think he's going to be so hard to beat. You've said it yourselves that his official rating of 160 makes the task for the rest of these horses come up and meet his standard all that more difficult. There was a reason why he underperformed slightly then on that reappearance start at Carlisle in the Colin Parker. That has since been rectified. He's had the time to freshen up since then and to get over that. So that should be absolutely fine for him. And I really thought he had Chantry House in trouble when he fell at Aintree in the Grade 1 Mildmay Novices chase on his final start of the season. Yes, you can say Chantry House was perhaps feeling the effects of a long season by then, but it was just a novice mistake more so than anything from Espoir de Romay. So hopefully everything
I think he would have beat him, Kate.
I think he would have beaten him. Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little bit too conservative here. Maybe because he's getting the weight from the likes of Nutswell. There's a lot in his favour, isn't there?
Windsor Avenue. Yeah, exactly. So everything in his favour. So I am napping Espoir de Romay then to get that one out the way. So we will move on to the 3:15 then at Kelso. This is a more battle hurdle, handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 miles. Dear old Boover Dare heading the weights off of his mark of 153. This will be the first time we've seen the now 11-year-old since April last year. He's a 2-time champion hurdle winner though. So Andrew, can the old boy do it off of this mark first time up?
Fascinating to see him back in action. It's a race that Nicky Henderson's won before, of course. Simon Sig, one of the higher profile ones. Be good to see him back and run well, but not for me. There were two that I was interested in. One, Daryl and I were both on last time at Cheltenham on Trials Day, Severance. The reason for backing that day is because he's a sometimes keen sort who needs a big field, strong pace scenario. 12 runners that day at Cheltenham. I thought he'd settle better. He did. But unfortunately, Keelan Woods took the donut route round the inside, and Cormier was wide on the background, got that rail in the closing stages. We see it time and time again with the grounds like that at Cheltenham that you want to be wide. And again, that was the day Pied Piper won as well, raced wide. Everything that was winning over hurdles was challenging wide. And to finish such a close second after taking the mug route round the inside. I think Severance, I've not looked at the pace map, but there's 12 runners, so I'm hoping there's going to be enough of it to suit Severance. So he's, I think, 10-1 from 12-1. I thought he'd run a good race each way. And the other one is BALKO Saints for Jane Williams. Does seem to have a touch of the Oxos, sort of good run, etc. And I think he's the last 3 times he's been beaten, he's bounced back to win at the next time of asking, and he was beaten in France last time. So just Severance and BALKO Saint on the radar for me at the moment.
Yeah, BALKO Saint 16-1 then, so I like that, and Severance 10-1. So hopefully he doesn't take the, I quote, donut route of last time out, which again is going to be on the back of your t-shirt when we get that made up for you. Definitely, Andrew. Daryl, how do you play the more battle?
Yeah, I quite like Severance as well. I like the booking of Brian Hughes on him. I thought he hit the front. I thought Keelan Woods hit the front too soon on him, to be honest. It's at Cheltenham and just threw away his chance going up the hill, really. This is a horse that wants to come sort of as late as possible, I think. Look, he is a horse that does need everything to drop right. You know, he's gone up, what, £5 for that run? He does need everything to drop right. And whether that's going to happen here or not, I don't know. Bouverdare's actually the reason I'm probably not going to end up back in Severance, and I'm probably not going to end up back in anything. Because you just don't know what you're going to get with Bouvedere. He's down to a mark of 153. Like that's. I know he's an 11-year-old. I know we've not seen him for 331 days. But Nicky Henderson could have had BALKO Coastal running in this race if he wanted to. But he's decided to take him out and put Bouvedere in. That would just say to me that Bouvedere's coming here fit and well and ready to do himself justice. This is the first handicap that Bouvedere, I think, has ever contested in his career. Like, it's not like we're looking at a horse that's very much on the downgrade. His last run came in a Grade 1. He was 4th in a Grade 1 at Aintree over 2.5 miles, which is probably a step too far for him, or a trip too far for him these days. And coming back to 2 miles, for which you mentioned he's a dual champion hurdle winner. You know, you just don't know what you're going to get. I like to have all the I like to know all the factors. And with Bouvedere, you just don't know. Henderson, I think it's like 2. I think he had 2 runners here, and he like 40 or 2 for 5, 40%, something like that. This is. I don't know. Bouvedere could absolutely hack up and make everybody look stupid here.
Although, just one quick interjection. It does help to be called Brian if you're riding in this race. Brian Hughes has run it 3 times recently. Brian Harding twice. So.
There you go.
There you go. We were right all along. Severance.
You've got to have a system.
Yeah.
Severance would be the each way selection, but Bouvedere would scare me if I was going to have a sizable bet in this.
Yeah, at least you're getting an each way price in about Severance, because Bouvedere is an absolute spanner in the works for all that his jockey's called Nico. So defying the trends then on that basis.
What's his middle name? Is it Brian?
Pardon?
Is his middle name Brian?
I highly doubt it. I can't imagine him being Nick O'Brien de Bonville. It just doesn't have a ring to it. I think there are far more other guesses I go with before Brian for Nico's middle name. But yeah, both of the lads are keen on Severance, but it's going to be really interesting to see how this race plays out. To move on to the 3:43. Now, this is our final scheduled race from Kelso. This is the Cyril Alexander Memorial Novices Limited Handicap Chase, a 0-135 contest for 5 rods and over 2 mile 1. So Daryl, 7 declared runners. Who wins it?
Oh, Hardy de Seuil. I think Hardy de Seuil wins this. I've liked this horse all season. I was really disappointed with the ride that Gavin gave him, in all honesty, at Haydock last time. Every time he was jumping a fence, he was reining him back, pulling him back and being held up. Every single fence down the back straight, he was just like, he It's almost like Hardy the Seuil wanted to race, and then Gavin Sheehan was like, no, not yet, not yet, not yet. Mm-hmm. And then they turn into the home straight, and he decides to make some headway, and he goes right on the inside in the worst of the ground. All the runners that day came wide right around the outside. I know Manila Drama did because he can jump out to the right. So I think Brian Hughes was on Manila Drama that day, and he wanted to keep him against that route. But the whole day, everybody tracked around the outside, and Hardy the Seuil's gone tracking up the inside in the worst of the ground. Oh my God! I thought, what is going on? But I've always thought this horse was a bit of a speedball, 2 miler. So I'm glad to see they're coming back to 2 miles, because that was over 2.5 at Haydock. He did remarkably well to win at Hereford. Remarkably well when I think Can You Call fell right in front of him. And he had to make up so much ground. This horse is surely better than a mark of 135. I really like him. I wish he went 15 to 8. What I can see. I wish he's a bit bigger, but you might get a bit bigger on the day, 2 to 1 or something. Because Heartbreak Kid, he's one of these Donald McCain horses that, for the same owners, that he seems to improve. Because a couple of starts ago, I remember saying to myself when I backed him, I think I backed him at Ayr, and he clattered the fence. Like he looked like he was the winner at the last. And he clattered the fence, and I went, he'll never win a race, that horse. He's won his next 2 since then. So he's on the upgrade, but I just think Hardy the Seuil was the class act in the field. This is a big drop in grade from a grade 2 down into a class 3. I really like him. He's unexposed. He's got loads more to come.
Yeah, I love him as well. I think we've both been leading the Hardy the Seuil fan club this season, really, haven't we? So I'll be joining you there with Hardy the Seuil, 15 to 8, current market leader. Then, Andrew, are you going to make it a hat trick, or are you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if I napped him or Daryl napped him. One of us did. We both put him up on our column last time out. He was a big price, wasn't he? To start with, he's gone off like 14s into 7s or something like that. And as Daryl said, he's gone around the inside. I'll put in some in-running lays. And every time my lay's first in line, just about to be taken, Gavin Sheehan's reined it back again. He's gone back out. It was the longest last half mile you've ever seen. And you know, although he got beaten 9.5 lengths on paper, that looks like a comprehensive defeat, but it wasn't. You know, again, you think if he'd taken the same race properly, we talk about it time and time again. Haydock over fences, you've got to be up with the pace. The last time we talked about it was the Grand National Trial a couple of weeks ago, when on paper it looked as though there was loads of pace in the race, and the Big Galloping Bear or whatever it's called, and runner-up Bristol de May were up there throughout. And even though they go hard, they stay there. They just keep galloping. It's hard to make the ground up on what is usually very deep ground. So yeah, Hardy the Seuil for me, 15 to 8. We might be looking at that in 48 hours and thinking, I wish I'd taken it, because he's 5 to 4 now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, that's good though. But at least all 3 of us are on Hardy the Seuil, and to hopefully get back to winning ways in our final scheduled race at Kelso. So Andrew, back to you for anything else from Kelso.
Not for me, thank you, Kate.
So Daryl?
Nope.
I just had to debate it for a second then. Right, good. We will move on to our final meeting then of Saturday. This is at Doncaster, where we're going to begin with the 220. This is a listed mares novices hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 3 miles. A Tonic is the 5 to 6 favourite at current time of recording. It was 11 to 8 earlier on. So Daryl, a clear favourite then for the Skelton Yard. Is that price justified?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a great opportunity for her to get ahead in front. She's already beaten Eureka Creek. There's loads of form lines at time of each other. I think Miss Fairfax beat Eureka Creek. I think she's got a massive chance. She's bumped into 2 very smart horses the last twice, Marie's Rock and Hillcrest. This is well below the usual level required for a listed race, I'd say. So I think she's got a great chance.
Daryl, sorry to jump in. Didn't you tip the 40 to 1 winner of this race last year, Dragon Bones?
Yes, I did actually. I did, didn't I? Right, I'm going to change it. I'm going to tip Starlight. The horse, I think, is the big danger, because I don't think anyone really wants to back it, either money or shade of odds on, especially not in this sort of race. I thought So Said I would have an each way chance for Colin Tizard. This horse is very much on the upgrade at the moment. I thought Terrestrial was going to run in this race, but she's been pulled out. But So Said I, she's very much on the upgrade. She's improving with every single run. That form from Newbury last time, beating Grand Luna, I think is quite strong, because simply the fact that Grand Luna loves Newbury. So she's around a 12 to 1 shot. She'll go well each way, I suspect. She'll be in the 3. But I would say A Tonic has probably got a good opportunity to win it.
Yeah, to get a listed price, hence where she is, say, even money at best at the minute now. But an each way angle in there with Seuil at 10-1. Andrew, how do you play the race?
Yeah, no strong opinion, although a lot of these horses made the running or raced close to the front end on their latest start. And I thought those that were held up last time, Get A Tonic and HARTINGO, were the two to concentrate on. Sort of I looked at this race without looking at any prices, and I see their evens and 10-1. So I'll go HARTINGO each way.
Yeah, 10-1 each way then for HARTINGO. For Andrew, the next race then we will move on to is the 255. This is a following race at Doncaster. This is a handicap chase of 5 rods and over 2 miles, where my old mate, the Big Bite, heads the betting as the 100 to 30 favourite. So Andrew, got the price right. Who do you side with?
Thank you, Kate. Well done. Just to say thank you, I'm going to side with the Big Bite as well. So, what's interesting, he was third in the Great Wood Gold Cup at Newbury on this corresponding date last year, and not beaten far. Didn't quite see out the trip again, as we've seen time and time again over that sort of 2.5 miles. And I thought he improved for the return to 2 miles here last time out, finishing second to Funambule, who I think can chase home the Shishkin in the Queen Mother Champion Chase. More of that later. And his record over 2 miles below Grade 1 company. 8 runs, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and a fourth. And the fourth was excusable because he hated going right-handed at Kempton because he tends to jump out to his left. Now, I know he sort of comes out cruising and you sort of think, oh, he doesn't find, but that tends to be over the 2.5 mile trip. So I think he's got a great chance. I'd love to see him sort of go 4-1, bet him each way a fifth of the odds and just, lose a round of drinks if he doesn't finish in the first 3. But I think he's going to run a stormer. Gaelic Coast is a funny one. There's after he won, I think it was at Musselburgh last month, Brian Hughes said he definitely needs this trip, which was sort of the extended 2 miles, 4.5. And the way he stayed on over that trip last time, he thought he's more likely to step up in trip than step down in trip for his next start. So I'm a bit worried about him coming back to about 2 miles. Cedar Hill is one I wanted to take on. He seems best on local tracks. He recorded a rare win away from Kelso last time out, which was at Musselburgh. But if you break down his record when he's travelled less than 50 miles to the track and travelled more than that, he's 0 from 11 when he's had to sort of travel any distance. So maybe he's just a poor traveller who doesn't like being stuck in a horse box. And King D'Argent was semi-interesting because he won twice in March last year. He's only ever won when favourite, though. 5 from 9 when he's been the market leader. He's had 18 runs in his career when he hasn't been favourite. He's lost all 18. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that it will go off favourite if there's support for him. But I wouldn't want to get involved unless there is a flood of late support and he goes off at the front end.
Yeah, so do just pay attention if there is all of a sudden significant market support then for that lad. But it is bitey then for Andrew. Maybe he'll go out to 4-1 if we keep reminding people he's a Scorpion, and then people might not want to side with him. But Daryl, speaking to you earlier on in the week, you were keen on him, and that was a few days ago. So are you still with the Big Bite?
Yeah, I think he absolutely hacks up. This horse loves Doncaster. I thought they made a massive mistake last year after the race last time going to Newbury. I thought they should have came here. Because he just simply loves Doncaster. The record at this venue was 2-2-1. He's off a very workable handicap mark. Bumped into Bello last year. That horse went on to go in close in the Grand Annual. Bumped into Funambule this year, who would have won the bloody Grand Annual. But
the moral of the story is don't run against any Venetia Williams trained runners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you're not. There's no Funambule in here. I know Bundorn are probably coming for a bit of support. He's obviously in good heart at the moment. I think he'll have a chance. Molistic, I'd be interested to see how he gets on for future purposes. He's returning from 321 days off. But the Big Boy just does everything in his favour for me. He's more than capable off this mark to get his head in front. He deserves to get his head in front. I'm hoping he might actually get a bit of a lead on the front end. I think there's 1 or 2 Fanzio. I think it's the other one that wants to make the run-in, but I'm hoping he can just out-jump him in the early stages. I like him a lot, and he's got absolutely perfect conditions. And the other thing as well is that he's improved his RPR on his second start after a break in 4 of the last 5 years. So you could expect a slightly better in performance than his run in January. So I think he's got a massive chance. I don't think he should be 7-2. I think he should be much shorter than that, 11-4 maybe, even shorter. Even money.
Even money for Bitey. Okay, right. Okay,
Yeah, I see some of the 4 places firms are going 7-2. That seems rather generous, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
it does, to be
pressing the
fair.
button now.
Daryl, we're trying to push his price out, not contract it
yeah.
right now. So yeah, so big bite then to go off with even money. Get on him now at 3-1. But yeah, I'd love to see him get his head back in front as well. He has a special place in my heart, that horse. So we'll move on then to the 3:30. This is the Grimthorpe Handicap Chase for 5-year-olds and over 3 mile 2. Pretty open contest. Daryl, your idea of the winner, please.
Storm Control.
Ooh.
Why on earth is Storm Control such a big prize? This Lemilos, I do like him, right? I do like him. I tipped him up at Exeter when he won. He won quite well. But I don't know how much more he's got to come off a mark of 143. You know, like he's up, in his last 2 runs, he's gone up from 128 to 143 in 3 runs this season. I don't know. Right-handed tracks as well. He's back on a left-handed track. I know he's won at Fontwell, but that's a figure of 8. Yeah, and a lot of people are thinking Mr. Malarkey all of a sudden, I think, is going to spark back to life because he's gone to Richard Bandy. But that's the only reason. He's had a wind operation. That's the only reason that they could possibly make a case for him, I think. So I couldn't have him. He's very untrustworthy at the moment. I know he's down in the handicap, but you need to see more, I think. And Storm Control ran an absolute blinder here the last day behind Windsor Avenue, just picked up late in that listed contest. I thought that was a cracking run from Storm Control. Windsor Avenue is a very, very good horse on his day. He's a good horse at Doncaster, and he was well handicapped at the time. So they pulled miles clear of Captain Ord. Captain Ord's come out and won at Kempton next time. Yeah. Dan McConville takes off at £10 again. I just going to go off the front end. I don't think there's too much pace in this race. I did think before we see the final decks, there was about 5 or 6 pace angles in this race, but I don't think there's going to be too much now. Likes Doncaster. I don't honestly see why Storm Control's a 9-2 shot. Should be favourite for this. I was expecting this horse to be favourite.
What did you make of his finishing effort in the Sky Bet last time out? Because I know people were of differing opinions that he was getting tired and lonely, or some people were doubting his resolve. What do you?
Yeah, he did the same thing last year at Cheltenham, didn't he? I think when Commodore unseated looked like he was coming with a big run. Yeah, I understand he can do that, but I just think he can jump him into submission here. Look, the likes of Powerstown Park, for example, I've got him down as a bit of a Hereford specialist. Under supervision, I've never really been convinced of his stamina. Legends of Gold could jump out to the right. Cloth Cap's been in a bit of a doldrums at the moment. And then Mr. Malarkey and Lemilos, like 9-2, like he's not going to be out of the fray, not going to be out of the first 2, 3, you know? I just think it's a big price. You can back that each way, and I think he just wins. I don't understand why he's such a big price.
Yeah. So Daryl then, like I say, expecting him to finish at least in the first 2 again then at his current price. Andrew, did you make anything of Storm Control's, his sort of finishing effort then? Your own opinion of last time out, but also
I mean, Storm Control's got plenty of previous for doing that. A lot of Kerry Lee horses seem to have as well. Don't always perhaps find as much as you expect.
Maybe they have 2 big cheek pieces. Maybe the cheek pieces are too big.
Could be. But yeah, this is a good trends race at the Grimthorpe. Can be pretty grueling, and over the years it's been tough for those carrying a lot of weight. And the horses this century, the horses are the top 2 in the weights. Have got a poor record. Anything carrying 11 stone or less, you'd make £45 back in the blind. 10 stone 4 or less, 9 winners from 54 plus £51. Now the trouble is, it's also a front runners race, and if you back every horse who made the running, 7 winners from 21 plus 33 quid. Obviously, the difficult bit is working out who's going to make the running, pre-race, because it doesn't always go to the pace mark. I mean, last time out winners are showing a good profit in this race as well. So you've got a couple of sort of front runners, including Lemilos, but they've got a lot of weight. And you've got the horses with the sort of the lesser weights, the bigger price ones, who perhaps don't always race up with the pace. But I was looking at Legend Gold and his record when fresh, when he's had 6 weeks or longer off the track, 8 runs in his career, 4 wins, 3 places, and a 5th. And when he's been returned to the track within 6 weeks, 12 runs, only 1 win when he was 7-4 on. And that reappearance Bangor run behind Snow Leopardess and Windsor Avenue, that's worked out really well. That pair are like £11 and £8 higher now. And so I thought, having been given a bit of a break to freshen him up since that last run, Legends Gold 16-1 outside with the entire field. So he tends to sort of chase leaders, track leaders, as opposed to make the running. But I thought that would be absolutely fine. And given his low weight and best fresh profile, he's probably overpriced at 16-1.
Yeah, the outside of the field there for Legends Gold then for Andrew. And I have also gone in this race. And that's why, Daryl, when you first came up with Storm Control, I was like, oh no, because I was between two, Storm Control and Powerstown Park. But because I was just not convinced by Storm Control than last time out, I'm just siding against him for all that I do like his profile for this race. But I'm sticking with Powerstown Park because, again, he has a really good profile for this race. And at least with Powerstown Park, I can just trust in that a little bit better. Hopefully, as you say, you can do it away from Hereford now, but hopefully to give Sam Thomas yet another Saturday winner then. It's a positive coming into this race on the back of a win. He probably isn't as highly rated as I would like for this race, with but those running off of higher weights or higher marks in this race have significant questions to have to answer. Should be ridden prominently, as you both said, another positive for this race. Had good conditioning for this race with 5 starts this season. He is prone to a mistake. That's not going to be ideal around Doncaster. So with a clear round, though, I thought he had a great chance off of a £6 higher mark than last time out at 5-1. So, Andrew, back to you, please, for anything else from Doncaster.
No, not for me. Thank you, Kate.
No, Daryl?
No, thank you.
No. And Daryl, anything from anywhere else?
No, that's it, I think.
No, to be fair, we've covered an awful lot of races, so there's not many left over. Andrew, any other races left over?
Yeah, Kim Bailey horse. If it's trained by Kim Bailey, where's he running?
If he's trained by Kim Bailey, where's he running?
Yeah, have a guess.
Lingfield on the all-weather.
Oh, Southwell on the all-weather, close enough. So yeah, this is BLAZON, who won a bumper but didn't seem very good over hurdles, and he's had 22 goes on the all-weather, 7 wins, big profit if you backed him blind. His last 2 runs on Peter, he's won at 14-1 and 8-1. Tends to come to hand around about this time of year. He's been off since October. Will he need it? Possibly, but it'll probably be a price, and that's in the 7 o'clock at Southwell on Saturday night.
Yeah, horse number 2, BLAZON, going for a Kim Bailey runner at Southwell then at 7 o'clock in the evening. So, almost all there is left to do is to get your nap. So, Andrew, your nap of the weekend, please.
Good question. I'm going to go for Hardy de Seuil.
Oh, nicely done. Daryl, were you also going for Hardy de Seuil, or are you going elsewhere?
No, I can't put the mockers on it. I want it to win as well. I'm going to go for Lord Baddesley in the 302 at Newbury.
Like it. At least you both agree on that one anyway. And I am going Espoir de Romay in the 240 at Kelso. So I was going to say that was going to be the last thing I needed from you. But to tee up Cheltenham and tee up our preview that we're going to be doing next week as well, I also wanted to get your anti-post Cheltenham bets as we currently record. So Daryl, I'll throw it back to you, please, for any bets you have currently. Just one will do.
Oh, how long you got? The price is slightly gone on that one. I'm going to go for GERICAULT Rock in the Kim Muir.
Ooh, yes. Okay, I like that one. That's a very nice one to be siding with. Andrew, your anti-post Cheltenham bet.
Yeah, I've not had many bets so far. FUNAMBULE, similar. I've bet each way for the champion chase. I thought was a good stab without the favourite on the day. And Magic Days in the Arkle. The Arkle's caused a few shocks in recent years, generally speaking, with a front runner. And if you just bet every horse who made the running last time out, you'd have found, I think, 8 of the last 10 Arkle winners. And we've had 2 shocks caused by 6-year-old front runners, Western Warhouse at 33-1, and of course Put the Cattle on at was she 14-1 a couple of years ago. And you've got Put the Kettle On's trainer Henry de Bromhead with a front-running 6-year-old, Magic Days. I did a preview night in that London yesterday, and Danny Mullins was sort of waxing lyrical about this one as well. So around about 14-1 or 16-1, Magic Days could be a spot of value. Edward Stone's a great horse, but he's also trained by Alan King and likely to be ridden patiently. And,
hey.
An 8-year-old running.
Save something for next week.
And just doing his own Cheltenham
We've got
preview.
another 26 races next week, mate. We ain't going to be short of suggestions.
To be fair, we have got enough definitely to be keeping us occupied for next week, but good for you then from Andrew. And I'm just going to throw Seasca into the mix for the Grand Annual. We don't need FUNAMBULE Seuil. We've got Seasca. I'm slightly concerned about the Venetia Williams virus at the minute, but keep an eye on that this weekend.
Yeah, and apparently a couple of them had runny noses. I think she tweeted about that, but you know, as someone else mentioned, if you've got if you've got a school with 150 kids in it, the chances of any of them having runny noses at any one time is pretty high. It doesn't mean they all have.
I know, which is why I was sort of concerned why she broadcasted it then to people, which hopefully that was just playing mind games with all of us.
She probably wanted to get a bigger price than Funambule Severance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's just pushing out markets for Venetia then. So hopefully brave Seasca in the Grand Annual for me, as it currently stands. I think it's about an 8-1 shot currently. So that is all from us then for this week's show. Plenty covered. Thank you for sticking with us for this longer show then this week. Thank you to the lads for all of their hard work. Of course, thank you to our sponsors, SBK. And we will be back with you next week with more Cheltenham bets. And so do stick with us for that one. And we'll speak to you again next week.